So let us begin by reciting the prayers. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachayane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatayane जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Hare Krishna. So we were in the previous session, we were discussing about the 6 tips to boost our bhakti life. So this was actually given in the verse 3 of Nectar of Instruction. So the sloka goes like Utsaha Nischayat Dhairyat Tattat Karma Pravartanat Sangat Yagat Sato Vritti Sadbir Bhakti Prasiddhyati. So we'll just have a quick and short recap of all the 4 qualities which we have discussed in the previous class. And today we'll be moving on to the 5th and the 6th quality. So the 6 favorable principles for pure devotional service. First one is Utsaha. So Utsaha means having enthusiasm. And we learned that many senior devotees tell us Utsaha does not mean just mechanically showing up with mechanical excitement, but Utsaha is shown in our daily routine, like raising up early in the morning, completing our chanting, and worshipping the Lord by performing arati and other aspects. And then we have Nischaya. So Nischaya means having conviction that Krishna consciousness is the ultimate thing in life. And if suppose one achieves Krishna consciousness, then there is no greater thing to that person than that. And also we have learnt of the example where we believe that some parents, they are convinced to send their kids to USA for their higher studies. And some other examples where we know that every person in this world has some other conviction in some other thing. So we being practicing devotees, similarly, we need to have conviction and faith in the Lord, that Lord will take care of anything, no matter what happens. So then we have learned about Dhairya. So Dhairya means to keep patience. And initially we see that we are very enthusiastic at the start of any new activity. And then we keep repeating the same. We find that we gradually lose the taste. And from the Srimad Bhagavatam, we also learned 3 examples where suppose if you want to eat a mango and you are given a mango seed, you are supposed to plant the seed, water the sapling, wait for the tree to bear fruits, and finally you can have it. And like this, suppose if you want to have milk and you're given a cow, so you need to feed the cow, then tie the legs of the cow, milk the cow, and then you can have milk. And suppose you want to cook some sabji and someone gives you firewood, you need to first cut the firewood, then keep it under the furnace and harness the initial spark, and then finally you get the fire. So like this, we need to have patience at every point in our devotional life. So then we have Tattat Karma Pravartana, meaning fully renounce one's material enjoyment and endeavoring exclusively to attain the Supreme Lord. And one example is of Srila Prabhupada, because at that age, he started to the West in the mission to spread Krishna consciousness to the entire globe. And there is also another example of Madhavendra Puri, who renounced everything at Govinda Kund, and he began to chant the names of the Lord. So these were the 4 qualities which we had discussed in the previous class. So today we'll be discussing Sangat Yaga, that is to give up bad association. and cultivate good association. And one famous example of this is of Dasiputra or Narada Muni, who by the good association of all the Mahatmas present there, he became Narada in his next life. So we'll be discussing all of this in today's session. And the sixth quality is Satovritti, means following the footsteps of the previous acharyas, how they used to conduct themselves, how to serve them, how to fulfill the instructions, and so on. So we'll be moving to the slide Sangatyaga. So in short, it means giving up bad association. And Srila Prabhupada says that bad association leads to bad mentality and it also hinders our progress in the path of bhakti. And the exact words what Srila Prabhupada uses is that crows will not like to live with the ducks and white swans. And similarly, white swans will not like to live with the crows. And there's a famous quote, birds of the same feather always flock together. So this is natural. So these are the words as said by Srila Prabhupada. And suppose in a real life there's a person and we know that they're committing some kind of criminal activities. And naturally, we would never want to associate with them because if we are with them, we are also implicated for their activities. And there's also some famous proverbs saying, show me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. So all these they convey that we are definitely influenced by the surroundings that we are currently in, and that surrounding, if it is not favorable to our bhakti life, we should look into it thoroughly. And we being practicing devotees, we need to know that it is very essential to have association of devotees every day. Like every morning, we have a schedule on the Zoom session, and every Sunday, we have association at the temple. We perform various services, we honor prasadam together, and much more. Many senior devotees actually they tell this line that it is easy for someone to come into Krishna consciousness, but it is very difficult for someone to stay in Krishna consciousness. And the only way one can make progress rapidly in this process of bhakti is by having the association of devotees. So now we are discussing about association. So let's actually see how association affects us. So let us pause for a few minutes and reflect on our life, especially on the qualities which we have and which we appreciate, and the qualities which we have but we would like to give it up and we do not like those qualities. So let us figure out how did we develop these qualities. So some of our qualities are actually from our childhood days, and some we are acquired in the later part of our life, either in the school or in the college or from somewhere else. And if you observe, in almost all these cases, we'll find that the good or bad qualities which we have are inculcated from others in some or the other way. And for example, no one learns to smoke or drink just from coming out of the womb of the mother. And if you ask any smoker or drunkard, he'll tell you that at some point in his life he tried to imitate somebody, or he was somehow convinced by his friends to do it, or he felt he would look cool because it was being done in the movies and so on. So similarly, if you appreciate some good qualities in others, and if you go and ask them about it, so he or she will also tell you that that good quality was also inspired by someone, and so they started applying it in his or her life. So like this, it is important that we choose our association very carefully,
Right.
and not just people around us, but things around us also they affect our mentality or our psychological mind. So,
Mm.
how things affect our consciousness is very well explained by Mother Sita.
Mm.
So, during the exile, Lord Sita and Mother Sita and Lord Ram, they were walking in the forest, and then
Mm.
Mother Sita tells this story about a sage. So once upon a time, there was a sage who was doing severe penance in the forest. And by doing this penance, he was accumulating a lot of piety. And Indra, the king of heaven, he became very worried that he might lose his kingdom to the sage. And somehow he wanted to stop the sage from doing penance. So one day, what fearful Indra does, he goes to the forest dressed as a soldier to meet the sage, and he was carrying a sword with him. And when he met the sage, he just bowed down to him and requested him to guard his sword until he returns back from some urgent work. So the sage promises Indra, I mean the soldier in the form of Indra, to keep the sword safe. And the sage, he promised and he just left from there. So the sage always used to carry the sword with him wherever he went. So when he used to go to pluck the flowers, he carried the sword. When he used to collect fruits, he used to carry the sword. And while doing penance also, he was cautious to take care of the sword. And what impact did this have on the sage's life? So slowly, the sage, he started developing cruel nature. And he started using the sword to cut the tree branches and all the plants for all the flowers and fruits. And not just that, he also slowly started attacking all these small animals in the forest. So gradually, he became extremely cruel, and everyone started fearing him. All the innocent animals, they would flee away in fear, and other sages who were doing penance in the same forest, they left from that place and they went somewhere else. And gradually he loses all his accumulated piety, and he becomes a cruel person. And needless to say, Indra, he never came back to take back his sword. And the sage, who had a great destination, he became a ruthless killer just by associating with the sword. And he went to hell after death. So these are some stories that are there in our scriptures to help us understand the consequences of wrong association in our life, whether it is the people which with whom we associate with, or the things which we associate with. So we have to be very careful. So the key takeaway from this story is that we have to be careful not only with the people with whom we associate, but also with the things with which we associate. So there is one point what senior devotees tell. It's that association of exalted devotees gives us exalted destination. So if we study the life of great spiritual personalities, we find that they are very careful as to how they spent their time and with whom they spent their time. And not even a single moment they wasted. So first they would give up the association of non-devotees and the things which may hamper their devotional journey. And then they would make sure that they only associated with sincere devotees of Lord Krishna. And just as the sun rays can dispel all the darkness, having the association of sincere devotees can purify and enlighten our heart. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, sage Narada, he underlines the importance of associating with exalted devotees when he was talking to sage Vyasdev. And the sage says that his total life got transformed when he got an opportunity to associate with the great devotees of Lord Krishna for 4 months. And by serving these great personalities, Narada, who was in his previous life a son of a maidservant, he developed transcendental qualities. And Chaitanya Charitamrita also, it is said that one achieves complete success in his life if one gets an opportunity to associate with a devotee of Lord Krishna, even for a moment. So the shloka is, I believe it is Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastrakaya Lavamatra Sadhu Sange Sarva Siddhihaya. So one second or one moment of association with a pure devotee, one can attain all success and he can get a very great future.
Yes.
So, from the statements of the scriptures and sages, we understand that those who want Krishna always associate with people uh, who want Krishna and with those things that can give them Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada, he established ISKCON so that genuine seekers can associate with each other and encourage each other to practice the devotional service to Lord Krishna. And there's one verse which I would read the translation of this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto. It talks about the destination of those who associate only with devotees of Lord Krishna. So the translation says, persons who are peaceful, equipoised, cleansed, and purified, and who know the art of pleasing all other living entities, keep friendship only with devotees of the Lord. They alone can very easily achieve the perfection of going back home, back to Godhead. So this, so this is the translation from the 4th canto, chapter 12 of Srimad Bhagavatam. And as we discussed earlier, we are actually a sum total of 5 people with whom we associate. So if we want to become a sincere devotee, then we need to seek association of sincere devotees. And if we do so, we'll have a great future. And we should try to try our best, in fact, to surround ourselves with devotees who are practicing Krishna consciousness 24 hours a day. And in their association, we will develop taste for devotional life and will become a dear devotee of Lord Krishna and will attain the love of Krishna. And in the scriptures, there are also a lot of pastimes. So once Narada Muni, he went to the Lord and he asked about the importance of having a moment's association with a pure devotee. So Lord says, uh, go to the material world and there's a bird which is going to take birth. So you go ask the bird. So Narada goes and the bird which is just hatched. So the baby bird was asked the same question from Narada Muni, and to his surprise, that bird dies. And then he goes back to the Lord and asks what happened. And then the Lord tells him there's a horse which is going to take birth in the material world. So just go and ask the same question to the horse. So then Narada Muni goes and he asks the same question, and the horse dies. And again, Narada Muni comes back and tells the same to the Lord. And this time the Lord says there's a calf which is going to take birth. So just go and ask the calf. And this time Narada Muni is very worried and he goes to the material world. He asks the calf, and the same thing repeats. And then Narada goes back to the Lord, and the Lord consoles him. And he tells that there's a kingdom, uh, and the king has given birth to a baby boy. So now just go ask that baby. So as soon as Narada went, he was actually hesitant, but Narada Muni still went and he asked the baby, what is the importance of a moment's association? And then the baby replies saying that he was actually a bird, then he became a horse, and then he became a calf. And because of the association of a movement with Narada Muni, he got into this human form of a life as a devotee. So this is actually the power of association. And there are also many moments about bad association. For example, Ajamila's entire life changed because he had a bad association. And in the reverse case, there was the prostitute's life was changed when Haridas Thakur started chanting in the prostitute's presence. And also, there's another pastime of how Nityananda Prabhu, um, the association of Nityananda Prabhu. made Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu merciful towards Jagai and Magai. And like this, there's also another pastime where Bharat Maharaj, who by the association of a deer, he, his entire life got changed and he came back with his another body like that. So there are many instances like this in the Shastras. So we need to know whom to not associate with. So let us see whom should we stay away from or whose association we need to keep away from. So firstly, we have the Karmis. So Karmis, they have respect for Krishna or they might not have. It doesn't matter. But their main purpose is to attain some kind of happiness. And karma is nothing but selfish activities. Therefore, karmis are also termed as non-devotees. And then we have the yogis. So yogis sometimes search for liberation. They have the term called the fruit of jnana or vibhuti, which is the fruit of karma. So all these come are very dangerous. So they're also termed as non-devotees. And then we have the jnanis. So jnanis are actually they are attached to discussing dry logic and they're adverse to the Lord. And additionally to jnanis, we also have atheists who they also come under the category of whom to not associate with. And in the purport of this verse, as you can see, it is clearly mentioned. Uh, and this is how even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, when asked about the same, he mentions that you need to give up the association of worldly people or non-devotees because this aspect could be a hindrance to our daily devotional life. So now there arises a serious question, which is obvious. All that we had discussed just now was a problem or something theoretical, but practically, when you go to work, we associate with colleagues and we cannot refrain from talking to them, or at certain times we might require their help as well. And if you do not maintain a decent talk, we'll be at a disadvantage. So this is a practical problem, and the solution is precisely described in Upadeshamrita. And one cannot give up the association of sinful people or non-devotees, even though he's very renounced, because at some point of this material life, he'll come in contact with such people. And therefore there is a proper limit so to give up the association of materialist, and this limit is given in the Upadeshamrita. So the sloka is dadati pratigrihnati guhyam akyati prachyati bhunkte bhojayate chaiva sadvidham priti lakshanam. So translation: offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts, revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasada and offering prasada are the 6 symptoms of love shared by one devotee and another. So these 6 activities, if done with love, they are called as sangha or association. Giving foodstuff to a hungry person and accepting some charity from a pious man, it is done out of duty and not out of love. And even if they are materialist, this type of engagement is not considered association. But if they are pure devotees, then such activities are performed out of love. And when such activities are performed out of love, then it is association. Therefore, giving charity to pure Vaishnavas and accepting items from them becomes satsanga. And opposite to this, giving charity to a materialist or accepting charity from a materialist, if done out of love, it becomes asatsanga. And when a materialist approaches you, whatever is required to be done, just that should be done only, and it should be done out of duty. And one should not speak confidentially with a materialist because generally there is some love involved in confidential speaking because you place certain trust in that person. And while meeting a materialistic friend, one should speak only what is extremely necessary, and it is better at that time not to exhibit heartfelt love. So moving on next to the last quality, which is satovritti. So as you can see on the slide, satovritti simply means following the footsteps of the previous acharyas and asking no questions or not debating against this instructions. And bhakti actually means transcendental activities and something that is away from the contamination of the three modes of material nature. So if one follows the activities as given by the acharyas, then one is sure to progress in this path of bhakti. And there is a stick that is stated by the senior devotees. It is actually it is said that we need to fill our entire 24 hours with devotional activities as much as possible. For example, we rise up early in the morning, attend Mangalati, perform Aarti, cook for the Lord, honor Prasadam, listen to Kirtan lecture, talk to devotees, and so on. So, this is again a topic for another discussion, and we can also learn a lot about this and time management from the life of Bhakti Vinod Thakur and other great acharyas who have laid a roadmap for the process to attain this process of bhakti. So, to conclude, all the points that were discussed from this verse will definitely bring a great boost to our spiritual life. So, the first four qualities are traits which one needs to have in himself, and the next two, that is association and following the footsteps of acharyas, are external habits that are very important for the progress to be visible to ourselves. And one key point that we need to remember is that associating with devotees includes giving and accepting gifts, sharing and honoring prasadam, and also sharing thoughts and inquiring from the devotees. So, with this, I would like to conclude today's session. I thank you all for your patient listening and for giving me this opportunity to speak. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So thank you, Sumukha Gopesh Prabhu, for your wonderful class with the various analogies and cross references about the whom to associate, whom not to associate, and what is their destination. You have very nicely explained. So we all thank you very much. We also got some solid points. Sangatyago, Satavrutti. Okay, so we will keep it open, and the participants, we are 40, and they may likely to interact with you. So Hare Krishna. So all the devotees kindly come on the video with all your responses to the lecture. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare
The
Krishna.
story of the sage and the sword is a very beautiful story, Prabhu. Very beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
This point, the lecture was very nice, Prabhu. So I got a point that, a question in the point, showing heartfelt love towards the materialist should not be done actually. So how will you elaborate on that?
So it should be done out of duty, Mataji. So in the purport, it's mentioned it should be done out of duty. And so if you want to interact with someone who comes under the category of a non-devotee, so you have to, the limit that is prescribed in the Uparishamrita is it should be done out of duty and not out of love. Because if you do it out of love, it comes under the category of Asat Sangha. So Asat Sangha with non-devotees, it's not very favorable for devotional life, obviously. So it should be done out of duty and not out of love.
Thank you, Prabhu. You got the Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. So anybody else? Any responses? The time is precious, morning time. We're supposed to save the time, and every second in the Brahma Murta is very valuable. Like the bouts of the same feather flock together, as Sumukha Prabhu mentioned. So we are all like-minded people. We like to associate with the devotees. The same way, if we associate with the non-devotees, then we also get their qualities, and thereby we fall from the spiritual life. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
ಪ್ರಭು ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ ನಾವು ಡಿಒಟಿ ಆರ್ಟಿಸ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಂಗಿರಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಪ್ರಭು ನಾವು? ನಾವು ವೀಕ್ಲಿ ಒನ್ ಡೇ ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು, ವೀಕ್ಲಿ ಒನ್ ಡೇ ಸತ್ಸಂಗ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಮತ್ ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ ನಾವು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಇರಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಪ್ರಭು? ಇವಾಗ ಒಂದು ಡೇ ಮಿಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ.
And the family members also, they are also devotees, Alma Mataji. So if you associate like devotees and their family jothe chanting ಮಾಡೋದು, ಅದು association category ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Because family members devotee ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅವರು ಉಪದೇಶಾಮೃತ ಶ್ಲೋಕ ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್. ಸೊ ನೀವು ಕೂಡ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಾ, ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಗಿವ್ their association to you. And also, I think my father wants to add something.
Okay, nice question actually. So if we can read Srila Prabhupada books, we are associating with Prabhupada. So if we can call a devotee over phone, also we can interact with him. Whenever we have time, ನಮಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ಫ್ರೀ ಟೈಮ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೋ ಅವಾಗ ಒಂದು ಡಿವೋಟಿಗೆ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಗೀತಾ, ಭಾಗವತಂ, ಚೈತನ್ಯ ಚರಿತಾಮೃತ ಅದನ್ನು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. And though we are away from the temple, but we are in the home temple where japa is done, where devotees are gathering together. Like this, whole day we can associate with the devotees. Now with the invention of communication technology, the whole world became a small house. Anybody can reach anywhere in the world. So Guru Maharaj, yesterday he was in Kolkata, and he gave a wonderful lecture for some 5,000 students he addressed. Of course, Guru Maharaj can do anything and everything. Since we are his disciples, we can also do wonders by the mercy of Guru Maharaj. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
What? Hare Krishna?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, sir. No. I just wanted to add the comment what Usha Mataji's question is. That would be the same question for all the office goers also. And had heard very early in our early days that by His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj, he says very nicely for all those people who have to take association of the so-called non-devotees in the office, he says, make sure your morning program is so beautifully packed. That is our sadhana of chanting, reading, doing DT worship, taking saprashad. And when you come back again, pack it with some arati or some songs and things like that. If both are packed nicely like a sandwich, the center one will be taken care by the Lord. So that way we will not find so much of, we will not get the satsang's effects into us. So for those people who take more association of non-devotees, they have to doubly ensure that morning and evening is very well packed. So I just thought I should also add in here. Otherwise, a great class. Thank you. Wonderful points.
Krishna Prabhu, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದಾ ಪ್ರಭು? ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ.
ಕೇಳಿ.
ಪ್ರಭು, ನನ್ನ ಅಕ್ಕ ಒಬ್ರು 16 ರೌಂಡ್ ಚಾಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವರು ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಝೂಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾ, ಮೈಸೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಝೂಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಬರಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಅವರ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಕೊಡೋದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ?
Question to you, Sumukha Prabhu.
You can give your association and maybe you can inspire Mataji to associate in the Zoom session more and to physically meet other devotees as well. So that can be an option.
Okay. Even if I invite her, also she doesn't come.
Okay, normally, whenever anybody chants 16 rounds, they are not ordinary souls. They have some previous background of devotional service. Maybe constantly you can keep on encouraging and supporting her, facilitating her, and one day she will become a nice devotee. So in the history of our ISKCON, there are so many devotees like this. They have taken so many years. Even Prabhupada, when he met first his Gurudev, and when he got the second time for initiation, and there was a huge gap of 10 years. So that is the time only matters. Maybe you can pray for her. You can speak to her. Importantly, you please connect her to your leader and Guru
Yes.
Maharaj. This way they will be, empowered. They will get blessings upon the devotees because we have some material relationship with them. So we cannot go very deep with the material connections. That's why always connect to your seniors. Seniors will connect to Guru Maharaj, and automatically, they will get progress in Krishna consciousness. And don't try to handle by your own endeavors. Automatically should connect. Okay.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.